Welcome to Skyler Jarvis Media.
The man, the myth, the legend.
Skyler Jarvis.
What's up, everybody? This is the Skyler Jarvis Show. I'm your host, Skyler. And today, we're doing another boss rant. This is the third boss rant I've done. Again, this is just me talking about random things. So, bear with me here. But it seems like everybody's liking the boss rants. A lot of people are liking the boss rants. And you don't know how much I appreciate just the support from everybody. I just want to go ahead and point that out right now. The support from everybody that's watching and subscribing, it means a heck of a lot to me. And seeing as I've just started this podcast and a lot of people are starting to watch, it means a lot. And Carson, it means a lot for him helping me get it started and just all the work he put into it, and him doing that surprise Mama and Papa video. That meant a lot to us. Everybody loved that video that had seen it. So, it's a keepsake for Mama and Papa for sure. And for all the grandkids. Y'all really made that happen. But, everybody's liking the boss rants. And if there's anything you want me to talk about on here, put it down in the comments. I'm always looking for different stuff to talk about. And, if you want to be a guest on the podcast, hit me up. And just tell me, and I usually do these on the weekends and put them out during the week. So just let me know a week ahead of time so I can figure out when I'm able to do this, and then when you can do it. And we get more people on here and make it diverse. So, shout out to my cousin Cadence. They're celebrating her birthday today. It's September 12th, but I guess they're celebrating it now. So, shout out to Cadence. I'm going to do something special for you for your birthday. Shout out to everybody in the family who made the surprise for Mama and Papa happen. But I want to talk about GTA today, Grand Theft Auto, and go in a lot more depth and detail about why I like that series in particular. So, you've heard it on previous episodes. You've heard me mention it, and I tried to do an episode with Carson and Seth, but they had only played about one game in the franchise. Or, Carson's played several, but I think Seth said he only had played GTA 5. So, I've played nearly every game in the series, apart from a few. But, I've played most of the mainline games. 3, Vice City, San Andreas, Liberty City Stories, and then 4 and 5. So, I actually started getting familiar with the series when Caden got a copy of GTA 5, and it was snowed out. We got snowed out that day. Or no, it was the day before the snow came, and oh man, that was another. That's another podcast right there. Snowstorm 2014. Good memories. Good memories. So he got the game, and for a while he couldn't get past the jewelry heist. And I remember he played the crap out of that game. So yeah, my cousin would bring a copy, like before he was able to get it. My cousin would bring a copy of it for him to play, and he would sit there and in the room the whole time and play GTA 5. But the first time I actually really sat down and played that game was 2017, and by that time Caden had pretty much gave me his Xbox 360. He had got a Xbox One that year. And when I first got it, we couldn't get GTA 5 to install. It would stop at a certain point. And that was one of the games I was really interested in playing. But one day it finally happened, and sometimes I can't get past missions for crap, but nowadays I can, at least in 5, to some degree. But it took me like a week. I would play one weekend and keep it on the heist, and then the heist it opens up with, so and then Caden finally helped me with the first mission, and needless to say, I played the crap out of that game, and it got to a point where that was my life when I came home. I would go home from GMS. I'd get off the bus, come in and play some GTA. And like for about an hour session, maybe. Sometimes more. But that was a good game. It's kind of been knocked down a few notches over the years, at least for me, because of some other GTA games. But even when I go back and play that game now, it brings back a lot of memories from that time. And then I got GTA 4. And I've been replaying that one here lately. And it was one of my favorites during that time. When I first got the game, it was with Caden had got it before, and I'd seen him play a little bit, but he just didn't really seem interested in it. But it interested me, and I couldn't get enough of the way it looked. Like it had this. It looked darker than the other GTA games, but I don't know, just the way the streets look, the way it seemed like you were in a bigger map than you really were. You know what I'm saying? It was the first time GTA went HD. But the first time I got the game, it was with Mom and Dad. And I got GTA 4 and San Andreas for the Xbox 360. San Andreas played alright, but GTA 4, the the game disc was scratched all to heck, man. And every time I tried to play it, it keep saying disc read error, disc read, unable to read this disc. So eventually, Mamaw ends up taking me to GameStop because I'm seeing footage of GTA 4 on the internet, and I'm sitting here like, man, I really want to play this game. It looks cool, and a lot of people, with GTA 4, you either love it or you hate it. Some people don't really like it because it doesn't have a lot of the customization some of the other games have, but that game just nailed the bustling city in GTA 4 more than 5, I think. 5 had a good map and everything, but just it being one small map, I don't know how else to put it, but everything, it felt bigger than it was. And shout out to Rockstar. We need a Switch port of GTA 4, please. I don't care if it's just a port. I mean, if you can't do a remaster, at least do a port, please. You did Red Dead. So, but Mamaw took me to GameStop and got the game, and I took it home. I was so excited. All the footage I'd seen of it, I was like, I'm finally going to get to experience this myself. Needless to say, I played the crap out of it. I mean, for a few days that weekend, I think it was one of the weekends where we had a day off that Monday, I think. But yeah, it was Thanksgiving. It was Thanksgiving week when we had Thanksgiving week off. So she took me before Thanksgiving, and we got the game, and I spent that whole week playing, and it just blew my mind. It took me back to 2008. I can't explain how, but it took me back, just the way everything looked. It took me back to 2008. And it did so unlike, GTA 5 kind of takes you back to 2013, but 4 takes that to a whole new level. And I can't imagine what they're going to... Man, I'm excited for what they're going to do with 6. So, yeah, that was... And going back and replaying it now, it made me realize why I held it in such a high regard. And, back then I really didn't pay attention to the story of 4. I did, but I didn't. But just like I did when I played GTA 5 a few years, like 3 years ago, or no, 2 years ago, when I replayed it and went back and watched the story on YouTube again, and it hit different. 5 and 4 in particular, they hit different whenever you're older and you understand what's going on in them a little bit more. It's like Stephen King books, or any book like that you've read in your childhood, and you go back and read it, or you play that game and you're like, oh, So that's what he was referring to when he said blah, 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 blah. You know? So the same thing with those two GTAs in particular. And San Andreas. I want to talk about that one for a minute. Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. I kind of got into it when I was initially exposed to the franchise. And I played a little bit of it on the phone, played a little bit on the Xbox 360, but I never really got into it. Well, when the GTA Definitive Editions came out, the remasters, that all changed. And those original trilogy games, man, yeah, it's fun watching how a series goes from 2D, for the first two games, and then 3 took everything 3D. And it was such a revolutionary thing back then, man. It was like, now here's a game where you can do anything, it's based off of all the old crime movies, your Scarfaces, your Goodfellas, your Godfathers. It was based off all them movies. And the old ones even had like movie level actors in it. Like Vice City has Ray Liotta from Goodfellas. And that one is Scarface the game before Scarface the game. I mean, you'll hear that a lot. Like, it was that game. Tommy's Mansion at the end of it is basically Tony Montana's mansion from Scarface. That's a good game. And San Andreas, the first time I really sat down and played that, when the definitive editions came out, me and Caden, Caden would, he played the missions, and I would just go around doing whatever, blowing up stuff, shooting, all the good stuff in a GTA game. But yeah, playing that game and seeing all the stuff you could do in that game, and like, I hadn't sat down and tried to do anything like that, and when I had played it previously. For one reason, because when I tried playing it on my phone, it would just crash all the time. I'd only get like 5 minutes worth of playing, and I had a Samsung at the time, and it would every time it would just crash. Sometimes you couldn't even play it because it would just stop before it. And I'm like, bro, come on. So yeah, the definitive editions really changed that for me, and a lot of people didn't like those remasters, but I think they could have done a little bit better in some aspects. Like, for example, San Andreas, the original San Andreas had fog that, like, when you went up in a helicopter, or you used the jetpack, if you did any of that, you couldn't see everything on the map. At the bottom, it actually looked like you were up in the air in just a big map, and that's really what made the original so, feel so large, even though it's probably not that big by today's standards. But yeah, San Andreas and 4 are my favorite Grand Theft Autos of the whole series. And one of the main reasons I like the series in particular, and this studio for that matter. Shout out to Red Dead. But the reason I like Rockstar Games in particular when they put out games is that their games always have a level of immersion to it. Like even back in the PS2 days, like there was just Easter eggs all over the place. You could find different clues and whatever. Just different shout outs to different games or different movies or billboards, all that stuff. And their worlds feel lived in. You know, especially when you start getting to San Andreas and 4 and Red Dead 1. That's when everything started getting okay, you know, we're taking this, you know, when 4 came out, for example, the graphics, they might not look like much now. I mean, they probably weren't that good of graphics even then, you know, but you know, for the time, it had just a certain feel to it. And you know, my papa always says he likes Red Dead Redemption, but he doesn't like Grand Theft Auto. But, you know, he'll watch Scarface. And I'm sitting here like, you know, you've seen Scarface, you've seen Godfather, you've seen all them movies, but always just the cussing. And I'm like, some of them movies, your Scarface is known for it's how many F-bombs it drops. You know, that's a crime. I mean, it's a crime movie. It's basically the same thing. One of the GTA games is based off of Scarface. And I'm trying to tell him, like, Red Dead, he likes the fact that you can make, you know, choices in Red Dead. You know, you have the honor system. And I'm trying to tell him GTA 4 in particular in the GTA series has that same mechanic. It's got, you know, like, it's got different points in the game where you can choose to kill or spare somebody, or you can, you know, which guy to kill in some cases. And the story in particular just takes a lot of, like, accountability for living a criminal life like that. And that, you know, that's what made GTA 4 one of the better games for me, because it takes all of the stuff that you would do in, you know, something like San Andreas or GTA 5. It does away with all of that. And it's like, you know, the story is, you know, can you really get away from a life of crime like that? You know, there's always somebody that you know, by killing one guy, you've made, you know, somebody else come after you. But, you know, I mean, it calls stuff like that into consideration, but, I mean, it's still a GTA game. But, yeah, man, I mean, man, I don't know what where to start with GTA 3. the first time I played that game, I was like, man, what? This wasn't. I was like, I wasn't interested in it per se. Like, I mean, most of the cutscenes were just go here, go there, go here, go there, and playing it with the GTA trilogy, the definitive editions, it kind of made me sit and look at the series as a whole. And one of the things I've always wanted to do was revisit GTA 4. And now I've been doing it, and it's been a heck of a walk down memory lane. I mean, it really did remind me why that one in particular was one of my favorites. So, stepping back and judging the whole series as a whole, I think GTA 3 would still be last place, but for different reasons. Like, this is the start of what would become modern day GTA games. And but you got to step back and look, like, this is back then, this was hot shit. This was nothing had been seen like that. And then Liberty City Stories. And by the way, I really like the 1998 setting, in Liberty City. That was, that one needs a remaster, as a matter of fact. Vice City Stories I haven't played, so I can't really judge it. But from what I've heard, it's a little bit better than Liberty City Stories. You could do a little bit more in it. Vice City, man, whenever I played it for the first time, I had got it on my phone, and I would always try to play like it was GTA 5. I don't know why, but like it was, that game was like top notch. Whenever it was the best game I had seen up to that point, when I had first got introduced to it. But now when the remasters came out and I judged it on its own merits, this game's pretty good. It's got some really good story moments. And this is where Rockstar starts getting really good at making a good story and a good sandbox game. San Andreas. Now, I've said what my thoughts are on that game, but you had 3 cities in one game. And one of the points I brought up earlier was, the when the game came out, it felt like it was just such a big world. And, you could do so much. You could work out. You could make your character have muscle. You could fatten him up, and the dialogue matched it. And people would comment on how you looked. And that one was my personal favorite out of the whole trilogy, the original trilogy. And, because that was the first time Rockstar, 3 and Vice City felt like, but San Andreas started adding activities like you could go and play pool. You could go and, eat at a restaurant. You could go take girlfriends out on a date, and you could do all this crazy stuff. Before, and this was before graphics started to be what everybody judged games over. I've pretty much said my thoughts on GTA 4, so I'm not gonna beat a dead horse. So, that's one of my favorites. So 5 used to be my favorite when I played it for the first time. But I think 4 and San Andreas are a little bit over that one now. It just depends on what mood I'm in, which one's higher. But it's in my top 3 still. It has its fan base for a reason. At least the story mode. I'm not too fond of the online mode. Because I don't know. They've just been milking that one dry, in my opinion. They haven't really done anything interesting. Maybe a few heists here and there, but I don't know. It doesn't give me the same vibe as story mode. And same thing with Red Dead Online. It just didn't do it for me. And so GTA 5 is a good game, and it was up there for me for a while for a good reason. The driving was, I remember when I would play it, I would just cruise for a long time. I would just ride and, try to avoid bumping as many cars as I could because I can't drive for shit. But there would be occasional times where I would just get on a street that had no cars on it, and I'd just get to cruising and listening to the music, and it was a good experience. And that's pretty much the whole series, has done that for me. And going back and revisiting all of them, and the Red Dead series, I want to talk about that for a minute. When I first heard about Red Dead Redemption, I was still in my GTA craze. I was just like, man, I don't know how horses are going to, how are they going to, I'm used to driving cars in the game. And then Red Dead 2 came out. And for those of you who don't know, the second one, if you're playing them chronologically, it's Red Dead Redemption 2 and then the first. So I had got Red Dead 1 for Christmas, and Caden had got the second one. And it started making me pay attention to the series more. And I played a little bit of the first one, and I saved up enough money to get me an Xbox One so I could play Red Dead 2, because I was really interested in that game. It looked cool. It just had a classic Rockstar look. I don't know how else to say it. So I was like, I gotta check this thing out when I can. And the first one I didn't really get into that much up until it came out for the Switch, but I'll get to that. So I saved up and got me an Xbox. And man, the excitement I felt whenever, I mean, that was the first game I actually sat down and was able to, beat to some degree. Like, I mean, I had to have help getting to certain missions, but other than that, man, I played it, and the first time I beat that game, man, that was an experience. That was something I was really proud of. I spent the whole Easter holiday of 2019 playing Red Dead 2 and beating the rest of the story. And I told you I didn't play the first one that much whenever I got it. I mean, I did before I could get Red Dead 2. I played it, I loved rampaging on the first one more than the second one, if I'm being honest. But that was all I did on it, was just go rampage. Turn on invincibility and rampage. So I would, I didn't really play it that much, the first one, as much as I did the second one. I would sit there and beat Red Dead 2. I think I've beat it like 5-6 times already. So, yeah. But that all changed whenever they announced the Red Dead 1 port for PlayStation 4 and the Switch. And I was like, all right, it's coming out on Switch. I've been waiting for a good game for the Switch, for me to want to get a Switch. And I'm like, this might be the time. So, my birthday of last year, I went and got a Switch, got Red Dead. And looking at it now, there was so much I missed when I played it before. There was so many things I didn't realize, like that world. That was when the HD generation was starting to become a big thing, and Rockstar Games in particular were just on top of their game during that time. GTA 4, Red Dead 1, GTA 5. They were, Red Dead 2. All the HD games that they've made have been just super high quality. And, the Switch port they did for Red Dead is really high quality. I recommend that for anybody on the Nintendo Switch that wants to look at that. That's a good way to revisit it, especially portably. That's a good game, and that's why we need GTA 4 on the Switch. Rockstar, if you hear this, we need GTA 4 on the Switch, even if it's just a port. So, oh man. So, I played that, and there was so much, like, when I seen Blackwater for the first time in the game, I was just like, whoa. So this is where you couldn't go to Blackwater in the second one for a good minute. You can in the epilogue, but You can't as Arthur. And I was like, so this is where Blackwater started. And it just, Rockstar's games in particular they've always been so detailed, and their world building is so good. You know, if somebody was to ask me why I like, you know, Rockstar so much, it's because of that. It's because their world building and the detail that goes into their games. And, you know, they feel like blockbusters, every one of them. They feel like big blockbusters every time they come out with something. And, you know, something like Cyberpunk was supposed to be a supposed GTA killer, and then it came out. And I honestly feel like that was an opportunity. That was a missed opportunity, because they've made the game better over the years. But when it came out, it was a shell, because it was a good story and a good map, good world. You know, the world building was top quality, but there wasn't really much to do. The world didn't really feel lived in, except for the story missions and, you know, a few things you could do. It did, you know. And like even GTA 5, you know, the world felt lived in. It felt like people were going about their day just doing what they do. And lastly, I want to talk about GTA 6. So everybody's heard about the rumors. Everybody's heard about, you know, the leaks that have come out for this game. The trailer came out for it last December. And it's supposed to be coming out in fall of 2025. Let's hope for no delays, no major delays. So, any GTA fan knows how exciting this is, because we never got anything about GTA 6 for 10 years after GTA 5. And everybody's, you know, people are starting to get tired of GTA Online. And, you know, they're kind of expecting a downward trend from there, you know, leading into GTA 6. So, this game is supposed to take place in the whole state of Florida. It's called Leonida. And I'm, for one, you know, given what I said about Rockstar's world building, I'm super pumped to see what they do, because if San Andreas pushed the boundaries of the PlayStation 2 era before everything went HD, then I can only imagine, like, this is three generations of consoles later, and technology has got even better. I'm super stoked to see what they do. And Red Dead 2 did a good job of it too. You know, just having different towns and everything in it. The world felt bigger. Again, the world felt bigger than it probably was. But if that's any indication of what this is going to be, then I'm so stoked. And we're going, instead of 3 protagonists, we're having 2, a boy and a girl. And I honestly want to see where they go with the whole female protagonist thing. Like, I mean, Rockstar is known for building characters, so, you know, it's not, you know, I'm honestly curious to see what they do with that, because it's a nice change from everybody, you know, you being guys that you play. And there's female protagonists in particular, especially in Red Dead 2, Sadie Adler. She was a very strong female protagonist, and she was just the definition of feminine badassery. I don't know how else to put it. She just, by the end of that game, she is a freaking boss. And the way she develops, like at the start of the game, I'm not gonna spoil it for you, but at the start of the game, she is a completely different person than what you see at the end. And the transformation is so cool. So I'm pumped to see what they do with Lucia's character. If Sadie Adler proved anything, like, they can write strong females in their leads. And this is going to be a playable character. So yeah. I'm wondering how the whole state of Leonida is going to work. Like, how big is the map going to be? I've heard it's going to be huge. It's going to be probably twice the size of GTA 5's. I mean, GTA 5 first came out on PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. So we've already came ahead like 2 generations. And Red Dead 2 was just like, oh man, it was a really good game and just perfect story. That game has a great story. And yes, man, GTA 6 is going to be good. If it's what I've been hearing about, yeah, this is about to be. And the mechanics in it's supposed to be more like Red Dead 2, so if you do certain things, the world reacts to you, or if you commit certain crimes, the world is going to react to it. Like, kind of like they do in Red Dead. And, like, putting different items of things in the trunk of your car. And there's things I've heard about from the leaks and from just different sources that, reputable sources, of course, but that say this game this game is going to be good if it's what I'm hearing. So I think I'm going to wrap this up. I hope you enjoy it. If you like and subscribe and put a comment on what you want me to talk about in the next boss rant, I would really appreciate it. I also appreciate all the support. And just thank you for everything. Thank you for subscribing. And this is Skyler Jarvis signing off.
Ladies and gentlemen, Skyler has left the building. Hey, bro, don't you want to say anything?